안녕하세요. 감사합니다. I always get a good laugh when I say that in Korean. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for inviting me to speak in front of this wonderful audience today. This is my first time in South Korea. It will not be my last. So my name is Diarmuid Gill. I am the Chief Technology Officer of Criteo. And I am here today to talk to you about how agentic AI is changing commerce. Some people say that we are at the start of the fourth industrial revolution. The first one came about through the advent of steam power. The second, through the advent of electricity and the internal combustion engine. The third was the rise of computing, finishing up with the internet. And the fourth, the AI revolution. Like all that came before, was triggered by massive advancements in new technology. Unlike the others, the pace this time takes place in months, not in years. And like each time before, there was a before and an after, and virtually nothing stayed the same. So today, I'm going to talk through how we believe this new agentic AI revolution is changing commerce. And don't just take my word for it. Satya Nadella, the lead of one of the world's largest companies, has said, this next generation of AI will reshape every single software category and every business, including our own. And Korea is one of the most perfect locations for this revolution to take place. Korea has ranked top 5 globally and number 1 in APAC in the AI Readiness Index, where they take a look at across different segments, government, industry, and the AI infrastructure. And ranking 5th shows exactly how advanced Korea and how ready they are. In the Microsoft survey, in H2, the second half of 2025, Korea saw the largest increase in user adoption. And finally, Stanford University have done a study where they saw that Korea ranked number 1 in the world in terms of AI patents per capita, which really shows how ready Korea is for this AI revolution. And also, Mark talked about earlier about a survey that we had done with Korean shoppers, just to show how much the shoppers are embracing these new changes. 56 of those surveyed have said they feel comfortable with AI personalizing their shopping experience. 61% found that AI-powered chatbots have been helpful in answering questions while shopping. And finally, 69% of Korean shoppers believe that AI agents will save them time and or money while shopping. Now, I'll make a prediction today that when we come back next year, we will see significant increases in all of these numbers as shoppers become more and more comfortable with all of these changes. And so today, I'm going to take you through 3 different angles where we believe that these changes are impacting our industry. Number 1, an area we call commerce intelligence, how this AI is making tech smarter. Number 2, client insights and efficiencies, which changes the way that we and our teams work on a day-to-day basis. And finally, number 3, possibly the most exciting of all, is how this will change for the end users. So number 1, commerce intelligence, which Mark referred to earlier, how AI is making tech smarter. And world-class AI, just like a world-class athlete, has to train. It has to keep going, keep repeating, look what it did yesterday, and do better today, and even better tomorrow. And Criteo is perfectly placed within the ecosystem. In terms of access to data and inventory, we have some of the best relationships across the ecosystem with our 17,000 retailer partners, across many, many thousands of high-quality direct integrations with publishers, and more recently, getting involved with LLM partnerships and getting access to their inventory. On the flip side, we've invested very heavily in our tools and interfaces to ensure that they're ready for this new agentic revolution. Mark talked about MCP earlier on, and I'll go into that a little bit more later. But this is the new plumbing, the new ecosystem that connects all of the different players in agentic commerce. We've been embedding these really rich LLM tools within our client interfaces so your teams can benefit too. And finally, we're ensuring that we're providing all of these great experiences to the end users. And at the basis of this is Criteo's deep learning technology. So we have some of the best data across the entire commerce ecosystem. And through using our deep learning neural net technology, we are able to spot correlations between the data that it would be impossible for a human to do. For example, when you see here, each data entity in our system is represented in a multidimensional space where distance between different things correlates to how different or similar they are. We can see how products can be similar to another, but we can also see which products often get bought together. For example, dads who buy diapers often buy 6 packs of Guinness as they're checking out. We've also invested quite a lot. We hear a lot about the large language models. Within Criteo, we've invested very heavily in what we believe is the world's greatest commerce foundation model. So taking all of that data we have, all of those user interactions, those 4.5 billion products, all of those 1 trillion of transactions, train them all and create this really, really powerful multifunctional model that we're able to embed in the next generation of Criteo products. So as we add new channels, new types of targeting, doing different ways to deliver for our clients, this foundational model provides this really strong innovation engine that helps us deliver value much more quickly for our clients, delivering much greater results. And so why do we do all this? We build all of these great new functionalities because it's in the benefit and the interests of our clients. We give much greater numbers of new customers who can come onto your website and engage with your products. We generate higher levels of conversions. We're not just bringing newcomers, customers, but quality customers, customers who are more interested in your products. We generate higher levels of click-through, and most importantly of all, we help you grow your revenue through higher levels of performance. The second angle, which we're going to go through today, is talking about how AI is changing how we get things done, how we work on a day-to-day basis. And so we, more than ever, have pressure to deliver. We have high levels of expectation from our stakeholders, and not only do they have higher levels of expectation, they want it done much more quickly. And many of the tasks that we've had to struggle with over the years are very time-consuming and ultimately frustrating. How do we know how long it takes to build the perfect audience? And even then, how can we be sure that it's the right target for the product we're shipping? When we've done our campaign, how do we get access to the data that shows exactly what kind of return on ad spend we've had? And standard reporting that we've had until now is so limited that when we want to query and ask any more, it takes too much work to be able to generate those insights. Well, thankfully, with the new generation, we're able to solve those problems. With technologies such as the Model Context Protocol, we are now able to connect all of the great power and functionality that Criteo provides to the systems that all of you use on a day-to-day basis, whether within your own platforms or through these new interfaces such as Claude, OpenAI, or Copilot. And so what we do is we take all of this great Commerce AI functionality and we put it right in the palm of your hands where you're able to access it much more easily than you've ever done before. I talked about how to build the perfect audience. There's the famous quote about half my advertising spend is wasted. I just don't know which half. Well, with our new agentic agent, we provide a functionality where your traffickers can go in and in human language tell our agent exactly what it is that you want to accomplish, and it is able to automatically recommend to you the perfect segments that are most finely attuned to the product that you're doing. You are then able to provide more detail on what it is you want to achieve. And finally, you're able to create segments which are then automatically available within our campaign to be able to target for your next campaign. I mentioned about how complex and how difficult it was to be able to gain those insights. You've run your campaign, the time has ended, and now you need to know what the results were. Before, you were stuck with these stock reports that you had to put into spreadsheets, you had to compare, you had to do pivots, and it was very time-consuming. Now, with our Audience Insights agent, you are able to go to the tool and in human language, ask for the data that you are most interested in and have the data presented back to you in a really rich, engaging, and digestible format, whether in tabular, in graphs, in whatever makes sense. And not only that, now that you have these really cool reports that show exactly what you want to do, instead of having to do the same thing week over week, month over month, and quarter over quarter, you can schedule all of this. So these really great reports will arrive automatically into your inbox, saving you and your teams so much time. And we've also built our MCP server around, it made it available so that you can access through a whole host of different tools. For example, through Claude by Anthropic or ChatGPT, plugging what we do into all of these great new tools. And so the example here is where a user is able to put in a query looking for a specific product, and by querying the recommender system, which is right at the core of the Criteo engine, something we've been working on over many, many years, able to come back with exactly the same kind of results, just showing how flexibly it is for all of you to be able to access all of these tools. And one area where I think we've got so much potential through generative AI is in terms of creative generation. So whether it's the images, the videos, or whatever other kind of creative you can do, starting with one single product image, you can create a whole host of highly engaging copy, so creatives that are very bright and engaging, also video just from a single image, that will have stronger audience connections, deliver deeper engagement, and finally better performance, and a much richer experience for the end users. And so coming to the consumers themselves, the most important people in the whole ecosystem, because they're the shoppers that we're all here to serve. AI assistants are great conversationalists. I think everyone has been amazed at how you can interact with these LLM tools and you can ask them really detailed questions. But unfortunately, they're very limited when it comes to returning really great product data. The problem is, LLMs, when they get trained, they scrape the internet and they pull all down this information, but there's so much that they can't get. For example, they don't see which products are selling better than others. They don't see which products are being returned. They don't know exactly how users are interacting with them as they browse through the website. Criteo, on the other hand, with our network of 17,000 retailers, over $1 trillion in transactions, we know exactly the commerce data that delivers the best results, which is why these new AI assistants need to work with world-class recommender systems like the ones that Criteo provides. And so, taking all of that data, the fact that Criteo, on a daily basis, interacts with almost 750 million daily active users, the $1 trillion annually in transactions, which far outstrips even the likes of Amazon, 17,000 touch points across the entire web, from APAC to Europe to the US, and a product catalog, the best across the industry. 4.5 billion unique products. And across all of those, using all of that data to train our models purely on the commerce outcomes that matter most to all of you, and helping you increase long-term customer loyalty, increase the average order value, because we know exactly what products a user is likely to buy once they've already bought the first one. And ultimately, through all of these great functionalities, deliver higher levels of return on ad spend to you all. And so what we want to be able to do is take those really great experiences that we all had back in the day when you'd go into a shop and you would find that really great sales assistant who was able to help you through your commerce journey, answer the questions that you had to ensure that you were able to get the exact same product you were looking for. And for the first time ever, that is now possible through these interfaces, using the power of the LLMs in combination with the kind of technology that Criteo provides. And so the example here is where a shopper is looking for headphones, and they're able to say, I want headphones that are noise cancelling, that fit my budget, that are available for shipping. And before, with the whole kind of previous generation of chatbots, something like this was not possible. And so this, for me, is another great step forward in how we can provide those really, really wonderful end-user experiences. At Criteo, as I mentioned, one of our core assets is our recommender engine. So that recommender engine, which is trained off all of those $1 trillion of product sales that go through our network, that is very much able to deliver user-based recommendations, showing only the products that the user is interested in. And so the example here, where a user is able to go and say, I'm going on a visit to South Korea, I want to get some new runners, and they put their entry in, and it's able to come back with a set of products which are all available, which all have accurate prices, and which are all in stock, and every one is relevant to the query that the user has given. The user is then able to take this query and refine it and say, actually, I want runners which are in black and white. And through the interaction with our 4.5 billion, with all of the accurate descriptions we have, we are able to return to the user only the products that they are looking for. Because the alternative is when a user goes into an LLM that's not using a recommender system like Criteo's, are very likely to get some irrelevant products, some products where the pricing has changed, but also missing out on all of the new range of products that have been released since then. I also want to talk a little bit about a very exciting announcement that happened recently, where OpenAI announced Criteo as their very first advertising technical partner to show ads within ChatGPT. Now, we worked very closely over many months with the OpenAI team, and they chose Criteo, amongst many others, because of that great underlying technology, because of that great commerce data we have, because our AI is fine-tuned to deliver only the most accurate results. And I'm going to leave you with a few insights. We see that agentic AI is emerging, and adoption will continue to unfold in stages. I showed you the stats at the start of the high level of engagement of Korean shoppers, and I firmly believe that they are going to continue to increase as time goes forward. Number two, Adaptability will be the differentiator. As we have all seen, this is a space that is changing so fast. It's so dynamic. I really don't believe that anyone knows exactly where it's going to go because the technology is evolving. And so for all of us, we need to be adaptable. We need to watch for these changes and be ready to pivot as they come. Number 3, we firmly believe that AI can materially improve the shopper experience. That we as consumers and all of our friends and family, as we interact with the websites and with all of the different ways you can purchase online, that we will finally be able to deliver that truly wonderful shopping experience that gives the user a great level of satisfaction with the product they've bought, but also gives them great encouragement to come back and do the same again. And finally, and most importantly of all, which is something I believe deeply, we have to keep the human at the center of everything we do. We should not focus on the technology, but rather what it's there to solve. At the end of the day, the human will always want to be able to take that decision and use the AI as just a means to enable that. And with that, 감사합니다.